Obviously disappointing afternoon on Saturday. Tough one for our kids. Tough one to swallow. Not only Saturday after the game, but even Sunday as you watch the tape, and didn't play our best ball game. And for whatever reason, sometimes that happens. Complacency. Comfortable. I don't know what it was. And again, give Miami credit. They're a good football team. Top 15 defense in the country. And I think anytime you face that, you're gonna come up against some things. So, I think that's really what happened there. They made one more play than we did, obviously, in the end. But our kids fought, and they fought tough. I think the entire game, they never gave up. At the end, we got an opportunity to make really probably 3 catches in that 2-minute situation, and don't. We got a chance in that 4-minute situation, which we've talked, it seems like all year about. Practicing those situations at the end of games, and again, obviously, we failed in both those opportunities, and again, it's a learning opportunity for our kids. So we regather, we close the chapter, we'll move it on to a Georgia Tech team that seems to be getting better every single week. Jeff Collins, again, they beat Miami the week before, so Jeff Collins, new head coach, came from Temple, came from the state of Pennsylvania, and tough guy, and defensive-minded guy. Likes his tricks and special teams. We've gone back and watched all the Temple stuff, and very creative. I think every week there's a new offense as far as what they try to do and try to create. So you kind of don't know what you're even going to get offensively on Saturday when you look at what they do. James Graham, their new quarterback, I think has started the last 4 games. I think it all starts with him, but I think they've kind of found their guy to sit back after playing 3 quarterbacks. And then defensively, they're very, very solid up front. 4 down, and we'll attack you. A lot of zone pressures, a lot of man coverage, and a lot of quarters coverage. So, questions?
You mentioned complacency in that. Do you think there was complacency?
I don't know. I mean, how do we really know? I mean, you don't really. I mean, you don't know. I mean, we're guys feeling comfortable. I sure hope not. We try to make sure they don't, but always we got to talk about it. Got to think about it. Again, there's handling adversity and there's handling success. Okay, and to me, there's both those things that you're going to deal with, and it's harder to handle, success than it is handling adversity. I think for adversity, if you got a bunch of tough guys, which we do, that's easier than handling the success that you have at times. And we had some success. We figured we were going to find a way to get it done, and sometimes you're one step behind, one play behind, you don't get it done. So who knows? I'd throw that out there just to whatever.
I think a part of that, though, is that you guys have been in so many games this year where you either had to come back at the end and been able to do it, and there's that. I talked to Kenny before, and he said that there's that confidence in the team. Do you think they maybe just leaned on that a little too much?
Maybe. I mean, like I said, think. We can think all we want. We got to come out and play, and when you start thinking about those things, then it is what it is. You just got to move on. And again, it's an opportunity to learn, and we just got to go take care of business this week down in Atlanta and play football the way we know how to play. And again, sometimes you got to get slapped upside the face to figure it out. And hopefully they felt it. It didn't feel good, and we have to respond. We'll find out how we deal now with adversity.
Are there any sort of positives you can take from the offensive end against Miami?
Yeah, there is. Obviously, the way we ran the ball. Again, people haven't run the ball against them like we did. I don't think. I mean, I think they were averaging 80 coming in, and not only with what our offensive line did, and we moved some guys. Obviously Gabe was back, and we tried some different things of just trying to, number one, keep some guys fresh and give Van Lin some opportunity. So it was good to just see some guys go and make some plays. Obviously wasn't happy with that 4-minute one. We got some misplacement of some people on some plays that can't happen. And again, that's a lack of focus or lack of knowledge, one or the other. And again, that whole situation could be a lot different than what it was, and that's the disappointing thing, because it comes down to maybe some missed assignments on some plays that shouldn't be. But the way we ran the football, certainly, I really like the way Valik Carter. I mean, AJ's run it solid. I like how Valik Carter didn't dance around and he hit it and looked like a tailback instead of just a jet sweep guy. And I think that's another positive, because he needs to carry the football, inside, not just be a jet sweep guy and hand the ball an outside run. So he showed some things in the run game that make you want to give it to him inside again.
It seemed like Miami was the first team that was really able to slow down the pass rush. What were they doing specifically on offense to kind of neutralize those things?
We probably missed 3 sacks. But we're not going to get 10 sacks a game. I can promise you that. Most people would be happy with 2. But they got the ball out quick. I mean, they threw it quick. Whether it was complete or not. I mean, you can throw it quick and throw it incomplete. That's congratulations. So good on their part, not giving up the sack, but it wasn't like they threw a bunch of deep balls either. So if you want to throw a 5-yard route, usually it's either going to be complete or incomplete, but it's going to come out like a 5-yard route would. And if you're going to throw a bunch of fades and deep balls, then obviously the D-line's got a little bit longer to get there. So, it comes down to how fast you're going to get the ball to your hand and what kind of balls you're throwing. And then, the last play, they had 2 explosives. They threw a 7er out one time, post corner, I should say. They only had 2 explosives on the entire day, so it was a heck of a job by our defense. I don't think very often do you find, you give up 2 explosives and lose a football game. But the 32-yard one at the end was fatal and was the most disappointing thing. And it's a zone pressure, and, we didn't, again, should we have played base? Should we have zone blitzed? All those things, would come to mind. And, as a play call, you can change it all the time. To me, players make plays, calls don't. And I think anything on our, again, as an old defensive guy, old defensive guy, but, we got to make plays. We got to execute a little bit better than what we did. And that happens.
I'm curious how Sundays work around here. What time do you guys get in? And the players aren't in until the afternoon, right?
Yeah, I mean, most, the coaches come in at all times. We're worried about by 11 at the latest, but everybody comes in, grades the tape. Some, I used to grade it at home at night so I could spend time with my family in the morning. So, guys got time to go to church in the morning and do what they need to do and spend some family time, because it's about the only time you get to see your kids awake and your wife functioning. So, and then the kids get here, I want to say around, they come injury check around 2 o'clock. Hopefully get here by 2:45, and then their day kind of rolls.
At the outset at all?
At the end.
At the end of the day?
Yeah, it's really a lift meet kind of schedule. Lift meet, flip it.
What was yesterday like, that team meeting? It's sure different after the loss than it is.
Yeah. Obviously different than the last 4 weeks. But, again, it's kids and, not too much different. It's just talking about the details. And again, it's all about, details of what we do on the field, off the field, whatever it may be, and how they trickle into your life on the field. But, we have to be better with the details in that game. We didn't have the details that we need to. Why is that? I don't know. Maybe it's, attributed to who we played against and what they did. Sometimes that happens. But to me, it was all about what we did. It was nothing Miami did. It was really what we did and how we did it. And, it's kind of how the ball rolls sometimes. But the meeting was normal. And, to me, sometimes you got to pick them up a little bit more after a loss. It's easier to go rip them after a win and say, why'd you let them come back in the second half? Boom, 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 boom. This is what we got to do. But, I think everybody hurts after a loss.
You have a good sense from your leaders that they'll take care of that stuff and they'll be ready to go this week?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't have a good sense from our leaders, but I got a good sense of who our players are in this room and how much they care and won't let it happen again. But, you lose one, you can't lose the season. We still got a lot of games to play.
You don't have to prepare for the triple option this week.
They got a little option they run. There's sometimes they look like they're lining up in a spread offense, and there's sometimes they'll run some speed options. So not near as much as Duke, but who knows? We may see the whole game. They may line up in it. They'll watch that Duke game and maybe put it back in. I don't know. They're very creative on offense.
Coach, you ever been in a situation where a team was recruited to play one scheme, and then the next year all the players were running something entirely different than they were recruited to run?
No, not really. Thank God. That's a tough deal to walk into, I think. And Jeff will do as good a job as anybody in the country, and he already has. I mean, they got 2 linemen that are transfers, that have come in and play for him on that O line. They really just converting from a 3-4 defense to a 4 down, but it was only 1 year of a 3 down, so they were kind of already built for 4 down. So I don't think that hurt them too much. But they found the right quarterback. I think that's the key. They got skill. They've always had skill. I mean, they're down in Atlanta. It's hard not to have skill. So they got a slot receiver, number 10, that runs a 10-5 100-meter. He can motor. And he's a guy that we got to make sure we know where he is at all times. And they got two really their old fullback is their tailbacks. They're 215 pounds that can throw it down in there and run physical. They're trying to make you miss. They're going to try to truck you and run you over and get another 10 yards.
Does that loss change the ACC Coastal goal at all?
What was the goal?
To repeat as Coastal?
Is that your goal? Our goal is to win one game each weekend, and we don't talk about it in here. It's kind of like the thing that we don't talk about. It's just about Georgia Tech, and
Back to camp, there were a lot of guys who would like sign off their interviews by saying, let's go win again.
I didn't see. I don't watch any of those videos So I don't know what they're reading or what they're seeing. Unfortunately, maybe I should take a better tab of that. But maybe that's what they're thinking about, and they need to be thinking about Georgia Tech. Not something like that, because it all leads to the same thing. We know what we want to do. You don't know what's going to happen in a crazy conference like the ACC or the Big Ten, and you just got to keep playing, and you'll find out in 5 weeks.
Everybody loves the story of the guy who comes in right away.
How was Italy, by the way?
Awesome. Thank you. Ciao.
Good. You look a little bigger.
when you everyone likes the story of a guy who comes right in and makes an immediate impact. But how gratifying is it as a coach and a staff to see a player like Patrick Jones, who plays a couple years ago, 3.5 sacks last year, already has 7 sacks this year, to see the maturation of him on and off the field?
Well, Rob, that's why we coach, the game of football. It's called development. And, I don't know how many stars he had. I know he didn't have 4 or 5 coming out of high school, but it's called development. And Coach Partridge has done a great job, on and off the field with Patrick Jones, number 91. I mean, he's phenomenal. He's done, those 2 sacks he had Saturday were big time. They were big time. They weren't just, and they were 4-man pressure sacks, I believe. The one I can think of for sure was. He just went around the corner, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that like what they saw out of number 91.
You mentioned it after the game, but the game Kessman had and how far he's come since some struggles early. Speak out and how much he's worked and how difficult it was.
I'm excited for Alex. It's a big day, and I'm sure he'll be rewarded for it in some way. And I know on the field he is, by his teammates he is. It's the adversity that he went through. Now, can he handle that success as we're talking? But you go through it individually, you go through it as a unit, you go through it as a team at times, and the performance he, and again, it wasn't like he hit 3 short ones and then came back and hit a 54, 55 yarder. It was start off with the big one and put it through, which they say statistically that's about a 30% chance of making those 50 plus. So it's a 30% chance, but we got a lot of confidence. I told you, earlier in the year, we have a lot of confidence in him, and we've corrected, several things, and, great job by our coaches getting that thing done and getting him turned around, because we need that guy. If we got any chance to continue to win, we're going to have to win it with a kicker. You need a kicker.
You've got a Doris up here now separating Warren and Carson Van Lin at left tackle. What have you seen out of those 2 guys? I think that's again, whether we rotate those guys in there, we'll figure out the plan. But Carson's played well, and really Gabe Hoy as well. So it was kind of, we'll find out what we are. And I probably could have put a couple more in there. Coach Borley didn't put any words. I put over. So just blame me. No, ZJ did it. But I threw some words in there just because I see what's going on, and I can feel that those guys deserve some more reps. So it's really just a tribute to what Carson's done when he's gone in the game. That's your decision on Morse.
Yeah. What was that? He didn't look at that. He's watching. He's watching Georgia Tech's front on Sunday nights.
How do you address individual receivers drop balls, critical situations?
Hey, why do you gotta ask that question? How do you address it?
As a coach.
Yeah.
How do you coach up that catch or not letting that continue to kind of fester?
Yeah.
after
Well,
you've had some-
you talk to them. I don't think you yell at them. But we've got several ways. It's no different than a field goal kicker. It's like, what do you do when a kicker is missing them? You love them up. You put your arm around them and try to get the best out of them. And the big thing is you got to let it go. And if you let it fester, and if these things are dangerous. These things are dangerous. My first question to anybody is like, what are you reading? Oh yeah, I read Twitter. Oh, you do? Okay, that's a dumb thing to do. Get off of this thing. I'll go get him a flip phone today. See if Petty can give him a flip phone so he can't. But guys don't go on computers. But those things are dangerous, and the people are brutal. And I've seen guys tank it because they look at that stuff. So it's finding out what they're doing in their life. What are you looking at? just the psychological part of it is huge, and just trying to, maintain that, and just, you can't think about dropping the ball. You got to think about catching the ball. And the word, that D word's a bad word. That miss word is a bad word. It's make, it's not miss. So.
Any additional questions?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you just wanted to follow up about Damar Hamlin. He, unlike Patrick or some other guys, he was a big time recruit. And a lot of times it seems like he's been sort of quietly really good. You don't maybe notice him, which is sometimes good with the defensive back. Who led your team to tackles on Saturday? How would you assess his play?
Damar Hamlin has been outstanding really all year. He really has. His tackling is, I'd say a year ago he may have been a 6 or 7. He's a 9 or 10 right now in his tackling. And I've told NFL scouts the same thing. Probably the biggest thing he had to fix from a year ago to where he is now is that tackling. He's done that. I mean, he's answered the bell on that account. So he's been great in coverage. He's got great eye control. There's a couple times yesterday he didn't have great eye controls looking in the backfield on some things, which is like those details that you just got to, don't get too nosy and start staring at the backfield. But he was good again. I mean, anytime you hold opponent to 208 yards total offense, it's not just one guy doing a good job. It's 11 guys at a time. We played a lot of guys on Saturday too, so there's a lot of guys we have faith in, and but we did only play 2 safeties. I can tell you that. I mean, Damar and Paris Ford took all the snaps at the safety position. I believe. I don't think there was another safety who took a snap back there.
Jimmy Morrissey said after the game he didn't feel like the offense has been reciprocating what the defense has been kind of putting out there. Do you feel like that's the case?
Not really. I mean, again, I'm glad they think that. I'm glad they feel that. It tells you they've got a little bit of accountability and responsibility for what they do. And I think, it's a little chip that I hope they carry into this week. But, I don't feel that way at all. To me, you win as a team, you lose as a team. And it all depends on what you're playing against. I mean, if you got a top 15 defense, things might, our defense has got to play better. And that's how I've always felt. And if you're not playing a top 15 offense, even though, again, I think I challenged our defense. I think it was, when was it? I guess Friday night, our final team meeting about, the best, I guess the best the defense has played against them was giving up 265. That was the best. Maybe I should have put some points on it instead, but 265 yardage-wise was their lowest output of the year, and we held them to 208. So I just challenged. I said, you want to be elite, you want to be a damn good defense, then hold them under 265, and they did that. And shoot, if you take off that 32 at the end, I mean, they're in the ones, whatever, the 180s, 170s. So, we just we didn't do that. But, it all depends on what you're playing. And, again, you guys can look at all the rankings of where they are, offensively, defensively, and special teams. And there's some challenges sometimes. And you got to hit those challenges, square down the middle. And again, we had our opportunities on offense to expose them when we did. So.